Hello.
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 Welcome.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, I didn't know you had black.
Why is that bad?
Because my hair's black. But anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying the weekend so much.
Yes.
You want me to go change my shirt?
No. I know we have to discuss this more often. What are you playing over there?
Huh?
What are you playing over there?
I was turning up the volume.
Isn't that a song?
That sounded kind of funny since you said, "What are you playing over there?" I said, "What?" And you said, "What are you playing over there?" I was turning the volume up. Well, then if I turned it up, I should have heard you the first time.
Yeah.
No, it's just the way it sounds when I go to move the mouse.
Oh.
So welcome to Bible Prophecy and Truth, everyone.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome to the middle of our conversation.
Yeah, I know. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. Did I not say that already?
I don't know if you did yet today.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I think you did.
So if you're a new attender,
New viewer?
attendee, if you are a new viewer, welcome so much to our channel. Jody says, "Hey, I'm here and I'm monitoring Rumble."
Awesome. Thank you, Jody.
Nice to have you back,
you.
girly girl. Hi, Jay.
Welcome, Jay. Good to see you,
Are you
brother.
shopping, Jay? I want to know if you're shopping. Yes, and if you are a regular viewer, we appreciate you so much, and we just want you to kindly smash the like button and subscribe to the channel and share this show with your friends. Share it everywhere.
Help us reach
and
more
this,
people.
He's home today. Oh, you stayed home for us.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Jay.
Also, go to Dan's website. You can find some really cool stuff on there. It's BibleProphecyandTruth.com. If you have any questions or want to contact Dan, all you have to do is go to prophecyandtruth@gmail.com. Also, you can watch our live streams on youtube.com/prophecyandtruth. We're also on rumble.com/Bible Prophecy. There you go.
Yes.
Thank you, Diane.
Yes. And I was going to tell you, if you do not have a Rumble account, please go over there and start one.
Yeah. Create a Rumble account and subscribe to me there, because sooner or later they're going to kick me off of YouTube.
Yes, they are. It's getting really close to that.
Yeah. They've deleted my videos in the past, and I try not to say things that'll upset the poor monkey cart, but
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I got to, I can't tell you everything. I can't talk about everything I want to, because otherwise I would be banned already. But I try to sneak it in there as much as possible.
Yeah. So far, God's keeping the videos up, because I'm really shocked. And it's probably because we don't have a very big audience, so that they think we're kind of insignificant.
Yeah, they probably don't care so much about us. Although they do delete our videos when they don't like them. So.
Yeah. So they are paying attention a little bit.
It's just the algorithms. Look for stuff.
Right. And go over, if you're on Facebook still, because there's a lot of people that are not on Facebook, please go over to Godly Woman, Godly Wife and like the page.
So welcome.
Yeah.
And last week we finished up our study on Revelation, which was actually a lot of fun, because we went through it in the order that things actually happen. And if you missed that, please check out our live tab on Rumble and YouTube. There's a live tab nowadays, and you can look at the previous lives. And I think it was six weeks it took us to go through it this time. It was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. And today
today's going to be a good Bible study. Michelle is back. Hi, girly. She says hello from Palm Harbor, Florida. What's up
Yeah.
for tonight?
Hey,
Oh, it's going to be a
Michelle,
good
Wakeham.
one, Michelle. It's
Or
going to be a
Wakeham.
good one.
Welcome.
Wakeham.
Hide floating
Yeah,
knitting
welcome.
drills.
Before
good to see you again.
Yeah.
before you go into this,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I don't know if you caught this, but when I just went online, there was an earthquake. It says Nebraska residents get rude awakening of earthquake.
In Nebraska, huh?
Yeah, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
They do not have earthquakes. Hey, Johanna. Hey, Paul.
Hey,
To
welcome.
rumbling.
I know, and that's one of the signs that Jesus gave, right?
Yeah.
Earthquakes in diverse places.
Yeah, like in Georgia.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. They had a
Earthquakes in diverse places.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing is we're seeing earthquakes in places they don't normally occur these days. And that's one of the signs, one of the many signs that Jesus gave. We're actually going to be looking at this again a little bit today. Because as I go through the news today, I think, my beautiful wife told me that it's probably getting a little old talking about Islam every time and going through all of the news. And
only.
Yeah, and it's the reason that I do that is because it's so relevant. But I'm not going to go through as much of that. If you've been following the news at all, you know that the war is still going on and everybody's still fighting about it. That the world is really divided over this, and that's something that we need to talk about because it's really Satan's plan that is progressing. So as we talk about the news, I'm going to talk about how it relates to biblical prophecy, like the cyclone in India.
Yeah.
Now, what's so unusual about a cyclone in India?
I didn't hear about that.
And there's not that much unusual about a cyclone in India, but the point that I'm bringing up in this article is it's seen an uptick in cyclonic activity in recent years. Now, they say that they know why, but we know why.
We know why.
We know the real reason why, and it's because all of the signs that God gave us that would herald his coming are coming to pass. And one of the things is, signs in the heavens, the weather patterns are changing. If, one thing we've noticed here in Florida is that it's really, the weather seems to be, it used to be so predictable. You'd get a couple of little cold spells in the winter, but for the most part, it was pretty mild. In the summertime, you could pretty much set your watch by the afternoon rains. Well, now it's totally different. We're getting a lot colder, a lot sooner this year, especially. Last year was kind of a cold year. In the summertime, the rains are like, last summer, I don't think we even saw much rain in the afternoon. It's just everything's changing, and it's not just Florida, it's all over the place that the weather is changing. Weather patterns are changing. So, this is one of the things that Jesus told us about. There's signs in the heavens. Where does it say that? I know it's in here.
The signs in the heavens.
Or it may be in Luke 21, probably.
And to have thunderstorms in December, like I don't, it's not a rainy season in Florida to have, around Christmas time, we don't have rain. It's dry.
Not very often.
We're having a lot of thunderstorms.
Sometimes you get rain in the winter, but not like summer at all.
Yeah.
And here, Minnesota is
mild,
but it's not unusual. Maybe back in the 50s, they had a lot more snow at this time. But since the 1950s, Minnesota is just like up and down, up and down. I've gone out looking at Christmas lights with my kids in the past, and it's been nice enough for me to just wear a sweatshirt walking around the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So
And
right now,
you know,
the weather's not so unusual here.
yeah, and that's one thing you might say, well, it's not that unusual to have fluctuations in the weather, and that's true. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I have on my website is this document of when is the end of the world, and it talks about this very thing, and it has some interesting information like the earthquakes that have been recorded since 1900, last 120 years, and you can see the uptick. You can see that it was fairly level until around 1960. Since then, it's been a steep incline.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things, you know, Jesus said these things were going to happen. There's going to be earthquakes in diverse places. They're happening all over in weird places in the world that it's like you haven't really seen earthquakes like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that these things are so unusual. It's just that we're seeing such a dramatic uptick, and we're seeing them in weird places that it doesn't usually happen. So
Like in
that's the
Nebraska.
thing we're looking at.
An earthquake in Nebraska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
And it's like this, you know, there's an uptick in cyclonic activity over there in the Indian Ocean. And, you know, they're trying to say it's, you know, warmer sea surface temperatures, trying to tout global warming or some ridiculous thing. But if you've been with us for a while, then you know that I keep bringing up this lie, this global warming farce, and how there's thousands of scientists that say the numbers they're using to try to say this is a reality is just a joke. And when we look at what happened at the flood 4,400 years ago, there were massive ice sheets that went all the way down to Kansas City here in the U.S. And they've been melting ever since. And that's why there is a difference in the climate, and the ice is melting. It's been melting for 4,400 years now. And it's not a surprise. It has nothing to do with mankind or our technology or emissions or cow farts or anything like that. It's so stupid. Anyway,
I know. They want to stop the cows.
I'll probably get
from
banned
farting.
from YouTube for saying that.
Well, they've actually said that they wanted to stop cows from passing gas.
I know. And they're well, and it's not that they're just saying that, because we've seen recent news articles, especially over in Europe and some of the nations over there, they're actually forcing farmers to reduce their cattle to reduce the emissions from
I'm more
cow
worried
farts.
about Duke passing
And
gas
they're
than
literally
a
because then we can smell it. But literally, they're literally doing this. They're making farmers reduce the cattle that they have on their ranch. That's their income, and that's how we get meat, you know. And they're forcing them to reduce that. It's like it's crazy the things that they're doing. That's just one of them.
We're going to be eating bugs. We're going to be eating crickets.
That's what they want us to do. Yeah.
Yes, they do in Africa.
So we can manage, right?
That's what they do in Africa.
Yeah, they do. When I was in Germany and they had this African fest there, they had stuff like bugs and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are some bugs that are edible.
I'll be going back to being a vegetarian.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to eat crickets.
No. Yeah, but I know how to handle being a vegetarian, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
We don't have any meat.
So another thing, you've probably heard about this. There was a massive tornado went across Tennessee, Nashville, and I want to play this little video footage just because it shows the power of this stuff, and it's interesting to see how when it actually goes through a city. The power transformers, there's explosions.
Finally lifting around Macon County. But again, this was caught. I want to show you something. Now, this is from earlier today. I want to stress this. This is not happening right now. But this is a video we caught live on camera as the tornado, that large confirmed tornado on the ground, moved across Davidson County. Again, this was,
See all the
just about a
explosions.
half hour to 45 minutes, maybe an hour ago. I'm a little blurred with time at this point, but you see it. Look at that. It's large, violent on the ground. You see those
Wow.
explosions. That was the explosion. And they did talk about there was an explosion, but there also was transformers being blown. That green you see is transformers actually literally
those
being
little
blown
pops all over
by
the
that
place.
large confirmed tornado on the
It's
ground.
just-
That was in Davidson County.
It's amazing the power of things like that. And that's, these are things that we can literally expect to see more of as we get closer and closer to the day of the Lord. It's going to just keep getting more so. Somebody said something?
Jay just said,
Yeah.
He thinks out loud.
Yeah. It's it's not unusual to have tornadoes. It's just, the power of it. If you've never been close to something like that, like I remember when I first moved to Florida, I gotta tell a little story on myself here, because I was like, the first couple years I was here, there was a couple hurricanes, and like Hurricane Faye, and all it did was kind of rain on us for a while, and there was a couple that came through, like Hurricane Hermione.
I don't know.
And it was, well, I remember it specifically because I actually posted a meme on Facebook that showed a plastic chair falling over, in the yard. It's like, oh, I survived the hurricane.
Yeah.
But then Matthew came through in 2018, I think it was. And well, what it did though, is it gave me a great respect for these weather,
because you lost power
things.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that big
tornadoes,
of a deal to we Floridians.
But here's the thing for me. It was my first experience of sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. And if you've never seen that or been through that, it really does kind of humble you. Because all it did was kind of brush Daytona Beach and then went off back out into the ocean. But that brushing, the outer eye wall kind of grazed us as it was going by where we're at here. And we had sustained winds of like 50 miles an hour, and you could hear this like howling, and it blew part of our fence over. And it was like, I'm never going to joke about a hurricane ever again after that. Because it really did humble me. And I'd hate to have to live through something like that coming over top of me, and stuff like this is very, very dangerous in the area. There were several deaths from this and these explosions and things going on that you see. It's very serious stuff. So that's the only reason I showed it to us. It's just things that are going on. Some other news, and this is all right. This is all stuff that Jesus said would herald is coming. We're going to see increases in all of this, all of these things. And another thing is, this is a guy that I watch now and then. It's
Chris Chappelle. Chapel.
Yeah.
Chris
Chappell. And it's, he talks a lot about China. So I like a lot of the information that he gives us. And
China Uncensored is his YouTube.
And he's talking about, there's this election coming up in Taiwan, like next month, I think.
Yeah, the middle of January.
And Taiwan actually said that if the opposing party gets elected, they're going to invade.
China said that they're gonna.
Yeah, if the opposing party in Taiwan is elected, they're going to invade Taiwan. Said that.
If it's not the right person.
Yeah, because there's the party, there's two guys on the parties that are friendly with China, and then there's one party that's unfriendly with China, that's against the CCP, and he's really highly favored right now. So they're warning, and they're saying that, if that party's elected, we're going in.
That's the middle of January.
Yeah. So this is and how is this related to prophecy? Wars and rumors of wars.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, up here. Wars and rumors of wars. And then these are just the beginnings of sorrows. And you know, we've had wars and rumors of wars. We've been thinking about World War III for decades now. We've known it's coming. It keeps getting closer and closer and closer. And we have people all over the place saying that we're already there now.
Oh yeah,
That
we are.
You know, in the Ukraine Russia war,
What about
and
Venezuela?
then you know, Venezuela.
They're getting ready
yeah.
to invade Guyana,
Yeah, a neighboring country.
for their oil, and they want the United States to get involved. So now you've got all these little wars that are all, that's World War III.
Yeah.
It's funny because I saw this movie over the weekend, and this guy said, think about it. How can our enemy get to us? They first cause confusion, then they turn us all against each other and let us kill each other.
Yeah. And that's what
It's
Satan
like,
loves.
well,
Satan loves war. He loves
Yeah.
to watch us kill
He
ourselves.
does.
And that's partly what I was just going to say too, is that this is one of China's actual intended plans. This is part of China's 100-year plan, and part of the culmination of it to weaken the United States. What they're doing is they're actually getting involved in all of these things, and they're encouraging these wars behind the scenes to get the United States involved in multiple wars.
Yes.
Because if they can get us involved in 3, 4, 5 wars, guess what? We're too spread out. We're too thin. We have no way of then getting into another major war with China. There'd be no way we could do it. So they want us to be involved in all of these little wars and stretch us thin.
Isn't China and Russia allies?
Oh yeah, they're always
they are.
They're always colluding. Yeah, China, Russia, Iran,
and
North Korea are like the little
Squad.
Group over there.
The squad.
Yeah, the communist squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. And there's so much to be said about that. These wars. If you know anything about Ukraine, you know that the United States has been laundering money through the Ukraine for a long time, that the billions and billions of dollars that were sent over there were a big, huge money laundering scheme. Zelensky's complaining he's broke. He was buying mansions just recently.
Oh yeah.
But they're broke and their people are starving.
And they're jealous.
I've got another little thing I'm going to show you.
They're like
soon,
a jilted lover, It's like we
I
stopped
know.
spending money on them.
No, we're
much.
not giving them money
And
anymore.
so now he's upset because we don't love him anymore.
It's just absolutely. It's really not laughable. It's
scary.
It's so This is our world that we live in. Sadly.
World War III. Just hasn't escalated.
And don't forget about, I was just talking about the 100-year plot to defeat America of China. We talked about this just a few weeks ago, and they're escalating because it was after World War II that China developed this plan, and it's a well-known thing now. It was secretive, but we've learned about it, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact, and they even admit it now. And it's a 100-year plot, basically, to take over the United States' role as like the world leader, and for China to be in that role. They don't necessarily plan to destroy America. They just want to defeat America in the global scene. And they're planning this, and what they're doing now is because America has become so weakened in the last couple of years that they're actually accelerating this plan to less than 100
Well,
years now.
especially if he's saying it depends on the election in Taiwan.
Yeah. What this proves is that they're no longer scared of us.
No.
They're no longer afraid of the United States getting involved if they're just going to do it. Now, they could be saber rattling. They've done it before, so we'll see. But, you know, tensions are getting so ratcheted up these days, and we know it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner or later, and probably sooner. So wars and rumors of wars. Oh boy, rumors of wars. Neil McCoy. This is another guy that he's actually
MCCOY.
I thought it was MCK. Oh, it's MCC. Yeah, well, I misspelled his name.
He's Scottish.
All right, so let me fix it. There you go. So anyway,
there are some people actually watch him, so they know.
Well, he's actually lives over in Europe, and he's
the Isle of Man,
and he's a financer, and he talks a lot about politics over there and finances and what the banks are doing and the CBDC stuff and all that, and he's got really good information. And what he was just talking about yesterday, I think, is when this article was. I don't know, have a date on
like on Thursday, I think.
Yeah, a couple days ago, and he was talking about this, where the UK is actually warning their people. The deputy prime minister warning that people should stock up on candles and torches,
which is flashlights,
because there's going to be power cuts.
Yeah,
and they're telling them this.
There's going to be so many elderly people that are not going to survive.
They're going to die from this. Yes.
Yeah.
They're not going to survive.
And there's really no need for this.
No.
Right. That's the whole point of this. Is there's really no need.
This is all
for this. This is their lying,
global warming thing.
Vile, evil plan that they call green. Is to destroy us,
the green,
and to turn the world into what they want it, and it has nothing to do with green energy. If you look at all at their plans and their goals and what they're actually doing, that most of the things they're doing for green energy actually hurts the earth more than just using fossil fuels. It's more dangerous, more damaging to the earth, more expensive. It's there's no need for this, but they're doing it anyway. And this is coming in the UK. You can guarantee it's heading our way.
Oh yeah.
If not this year, next or the next, soon enough. So craziness. Now, how does this fit in Bible prophecy? Well, just that the evil people that worship Satan are executing his plans, and it's all coming to pass. Now, if you remember, we looked at an article I did a little bit ago, and I did a video on it. The stage is set for Satan to conclude his plans, and it's one of the things is economic collapse. That's what he's working on across the Western world is economic collapse. And guess what? It's happening very, very quickly these days. So that's all part of Satan's plans.
Hi, Sheila. It's really nice to have Sheila back. She says, I don't want to interrupt your teaching. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Blessings.
That's okay.
You're not interrupting us.
We're glad to see you, Sheila. Welcome.
Yeah. It's nice to have you here.
So that definitely has to do with the spiritual battle going on in the world, because as I've mentioned this many times, and I'm going to say it again, the last 3 years proved to us exactly who's in control, because all of the world, all of the Western nations especially, followed the exact same game plan did the exact same things, tried to force the exact same things on on their citizens, tried to increase mandates and power grabs, and we saw the same thing. We know that they're all working for the same guy, and it's, there's many levels to this, from the people that are being paid just to do whatever it is that they want them to do. They don't even really know the grand scheme. And then there's the people above them and above them and above them. And it's the people way at the top that are serving Satan in the secret society, that have their fingers in everything and all of the puppet strings all over the world. It's Satan is called the God of this world in the Bible. And he's in absolute control of this world right now. And he's going for the rule. He's going for sitting in the seat as God, and he's going to be there soon, because he's going to have his Antichrist coming on the scene soon enough. Another thing that's going on in Panama, I don't know if anybody has seen this. There's a lot of unrest in Panama. Since the COVID lockdowns, there's all kinds of people protesting and violence, and there's a water shortage that's going on right now, and it's causing them to have to stop the dams that feed the canal, the Panama Canal, which is that major shipping lane, so people don't have to go all the way around South America. And huge thing for shipping in the United States and Europe, and it's causing them to have to some ships can't even go through the canal right now, because they have to have like a certain depth in the canal for these huge shipping ships. I don't know what to call them, but they're the container ships, right? And they're not able to send as many through. And the interesting thing about this is, when you read this article, is that China is getting really involved in the region now. Oh my gosh. China's getting involved everywhere. Yeah. They're getting closer and closer to the United States, trying to set up bases. And
they already have all kinds of
and they're moving
in the United States.
And well, I'm talking about around the United States, very close in different countries. And they're, I think Cuba, or they were talking about that just recently, wasn't it?
I thought they attacked, who was it that attacked some U.S. ships in the South China Sea?
Oh, I think that was China. Yeah, just the other day.
Yeah. Attacked some U.S. ships.
Yeah.
Attacked.
Yeah. And there was a Chinese ship that actually rammed a Filipino ship. Yeah. Just like today. Or
see, they are. They're really trying to.
They're pushing their weight around big time.
Yes, they are.
And they're getting involved in things like this because they know that if they can affect the Panama Canal, they can hurt us hugely. This would affect shipping. We already have shipping issues. We already have food issues, food distribution, the supply shortages, and this, it's just going to make it worse. Iceland, this, they're saying, they're trying to say that, the problem, the volcanic issue there is, the threat of it is being lowered. But in this article, it actually talks about how it's, but the people there they're still, their houses are gone. Their livelihood is gone. People have had to evacuate areas. So they're lowering this threat, but it's really not lowered in any realistic way. And I just had some images here of the volcano.
It's already starting to erupt now.
Yeah, and it's a huge volcano underneath Iceland.
It's starting to crack.
Well, I think it's Iceland where their city is right on top of a volcano or something like that.
Yeah.
So the earth is warm, their streets are warm and stuff.
And they're cracking, and it's actually erupting now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes, it is
that's the thing
starting
is
to
that
erupt.
if I remember right, it was pretty much dormant,
Mm-hmm.
and people weren't worried about it like ever. But all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's
Yes.
getting active.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show you this because this is the thing. This is one of the things I have on this on the when is the end of the world page here. Is this map, and it's the tectonic activity map, and these red lines are all fault lines, and all the little red dots are volcanic activity. You can see all along the west coast in Mexico here, the west coast of the United States and Mexico. There's all these volcanic activity stuff going on there, and it's
It's not around Florida though.
Yeah, I used to live in Idaho, which is right about up here, and that's one of the things that it was one of the threats there. Here in Florida, it's hurricanes. Up there, it was earthquakes, possible volcano activity. They've got mountain range there, 12,000 feet. But you can see these little red dots all over the place. These fault lines, down through the middle of the oceans, and this is all the stuff that God actually set this up 4,400 years ago when he flooded the earth. And remember, he flooded the earth because the thoughts of the hearts of men was only evil continually. And it grieved God at his heart at how wicked man had become. And he flooded the earth and destroyed everything except for Noah and his family and the animals that they brought on the boat, saved all the different kinds of animals. But God set it up at that time where the earth's crust is cracked, and these fault lines are set up, and all the volcanoes all became into existence at that point in time. The fountains of the great deep were opened up, and the windows of heaven were open, and it changed the face of the earth in many, many ways, huge ways. And this is all set up to where the erosion is starting to get to a point now where we're seeing volcanic activity in different places that people didn't expect. More volcanic activity than is expected. Earthquakes in diverse places. They talk about the big one in California when the San Andreas Fault is going to go one day. Well, I imagine it's probably going to happen sometime in the near future. We've got increase in activity all over the earth with earthquakes and volcanoes. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to look at this map because you can see all along the coastline of China over here, and and along the island chains, it's huge amount of volcanic activity, and over there in Asia, and in the islands and the South China Sea down here, and so it's we're going to see. We know we're going to see increase in activity in all of these things, and we're going to see these. It's starting to increase, starting to see more things in more diverse places. Why do we know that? Because Jesus said so. It's going to happen, and it's the beginning of sorrows. This is Jesus. He doesn't want to do all this. He's doing it because mankind is so evil. He promised not to flood the earth again and destroy it all. But this is all coming because, what was it? It was only like Abraham was like 300 years after the flood. There were people still alive that had went through the flood. Noah was still alive when Abraham was born. Shem and the sons of Noah were still alive when Abraham was born. Abraham learned of God from Noah and Shem. And but 300 years after the flood, men were already forgetting about God, having false gods and turning evil and wicked again. It's like they forgot all about it.
Yeah.
And here it is, now here we're 4,000 years later. And
well, that's like us going through a really, really bad situation. And it's like, we learned our lesson. God was trying to teach us something. And then it doesn't take long. We're right back where we were before.
I know.
It's like, no, you didn't learn your lesson because you're
we need to retain that knowledge and understand that God isn't just sitting there, he's grieving at his heart again.
Mm-hmm.
He's not up there laughing, watching things happen. No, he's grieved at his heart at the evil in the world. And the only reason he's waiting, allowing it to continue, is so that he can save us, so he can save as many of us as possible. That's how loving and patient and merciful he is, as he's allowing all this evil of mankind to continue so that he can save a few of us because he loves us. Here's another one. This is a Tucker Carlson interview. This is not the guy he was interviewing, because this guy's actually in a Ukraine jail. And the interesting thing about this is this reporter was in the Ukraine, actually on location in Ukraine, reporting on the corruption of the Ukrainian government and the lies being told about the war. Because you remember how the MSN kept saying how Ukraine was winning, and Ukraine has never been winning the war ever. And Russia didn't even use the full force that they have. They're a lot bigger than Putin. Does not want to kill Ukrainians, because a lot of the Ukrainians actually want it to be Russia. They don't like Ukraine the way it is right now. They'd rather live in Russia. There's a lot of Ukrainians that want to be united with Russia. Yeah. And so Putin doesn't want to kill all the Ukrainians. He's biding his time because he's just waiting until all of this subsides, all the help that we were sending over to Ukraine. There was we sent them a couple hundred tanks, but they had 2,000 tanks. A couple hundred isn't going to make that much difference, and it's they tried to get us to believe that all of these things were happening that were just outright bold-faced lies. And this guy was over there reporting on exactly that. They threw him in jail. So they arrested him. And the story goes that they arrested him, they let him out, but then he tried to leave the country and he disappeared. And he's now being held for, it's been a year now, I guess, something like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're touting the stalemate today, but it's not a stalemate. It's just that Putin is waiting, biding his time until he can just go in and assume control. Well, he wants the port. He doesn't want to kill Ukrainians. He just wants control of the area. Now, we're not saying that Putin is a nice guy. Oh, not at all. He's a crime lord. He's still just like our leader in chief is a crime lord, and so is Putin. Putin is a very ruthless man. Oh yeah. Very evil man. I'm not saying anything nice about Putin, but his plan is not to go in and destroy Ukraine or kill Ukrainians. He wants them to be his citizens. He wants Ukraine to be Russia, and so that's what he's doing. He's not going in and destroying. He's waiting, biding his time, so that he can just assume control when it gets to that point. Yeah. But and this is a U.S. citizen. Oh, he is? Yeah, he's a United States citizen. Reporter that was over there. He's being held without even being charged. And, Ukraine is supposed to be our ally, but they're doing
Ukraine?
this.
Well, they're
Ukraine.
not on NATO. They're not in
Well, they're
NATO.
not NATO, but they're an ally. They're
Uh-huh.
an ally.
Yeah.
We support them.
They're trying to get them on NATO. They're trying to get
Yeah.
them into NATO.
But this just shows the level of corruption. Our government allowed them to take this guy prisoner
Yes.
because they don't want their corruption exposed. They've been laundering money, and that's why they still want to give him more money, because they want to launder some more.
Mm-hmm.
This is a interesting article. It's actually
Oh.
naturalnews.com, which I find occasionally they have some really good articles on there that I don't know what has to do with natural news, but but they're talking about this stuff, and it basically what it's corroborating is what I've been saying all along. They're talking about these, 80,000 known terrorists that
Mhm.
Biden has let in this country that are conducting military ops, training grounds, getting ready to do who knows what, some kind of attack, right? And they're saying what I've been saying all along. Stop that. I have to remember not to hit escape. But what have I been saying all along is that the Antichrist that's going to set up the new world order and rule the world is going to be a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a non-Christian, just a regular news site,
Yeah.
basically saying the same thing
Yeah.
without it being biblical or about the Antichrist, but they understand that the new world order is going to be Islamic. And it's one of the things I've been saying it for years now, but especially since October 7th, you can see, and I would not have said this before, that half of the world is actually supporting a terrorist group that went in and slaughtered thousands of people and did unmentionable things to them. And half of the world supports this.
Oh yeah.
It's mind-blowing to me. I wouldn't have guessed it before October 7th, but we've seen this huge divide. We can see how far Satan's lies have gone. The propaganda because remember, Islam is really about hating the Jews. It's written into the Quran that the Jews are supposed to be hated so badly, and they're taught to hate Jews from day one, and they promote this around the world. This is why there's so many people in this country, in the United States, in the Western world, that have fallen for the propaganda that the Jews control everything and that we should hate them. Well, that's just propaganda that Islam has been putting out there for decades now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all falling for it. They're all getting brainwashed by this thing. And it's not we have to remember that the Jews that don't believe in Jesus are not God's people. There's no such thing as Judeo-Christianity. Now, yes, Israel has pushed this Judeo-Christianity thing.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Even though they hate Christians, but they want our money and they want our support. So of course they support this idea of Judeo-Christianity because, oh yeah, they're evil people, but they don't rule the world and they're not responsible for all of the evil corruption in the world. Yes, there are some oligarchs that are Jewish, but not all of them. And Satan has many, many, many people worshiping him all over the world that are not Jewish, that are serving him in the secret
Yeah.
society. And we have to remember the true enemy here. And, you know, I've even been talking to a guy on Gab recently who's actually sticking up for the Muslims because he hates the Jews so much.
Hamas?
Well, just Muslims in general. But, and it's like, this is all Satan's plan.
Yes.
Satan is doing
Yeah.
this.
And it
And it's
happened so
working.
quickly. I think it's happened so quickly because even 5 years ago, I don't think this would be happening. It just happened so quickly. Look what
Well, it's reached a critical mass.
And the
point,
open
right? That's
borders-
what's happened.
the open
Yes.
borders are not helping.
Well, no, not at all.
They're not helping
And-
because there's so many Islamic groups
Jihadis
and
that are coming
jihadis.
across. That's what this article is saying. 80,000 Islamic terrorists have come across our border in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's
So those are just the ones they know about. Don't
right.
forget about
Exactly.
the gotaways.
Yeah, and don't forget about the Chinese groups.
Mhm.
Mhm.
These elite military groups that are coming across our border, and you know, but the thing is, it didn't really happen quickly. It's just reached this point now where now the pendulum
really
is swinging
obvious.
the other way, and it's been decades in the making. It's been coming for years and years. But it just got to the point now, especially because they learned how to do it decades ago. They got into our schools decades ago. Now people have learned about this recently, about all the things they're doing in the schools behind the parents' backs.
Oh, yeah.
But Islam has had their fingers in our school systems since my kids were in school.
Really?
Years ago.
Oh.
It just wasn't as blatant then. And all they were doing is, you know, and they were looking at different cultures and historical things, they would talk so nicely about the Muslims and how
Yeah.
wonderful they were. Now it's this whole critical race theory thing where you got to hate the white man, and you know, and all of these other things that they've added to it. But it's been happening for years, and then they've literally bought the universities. They've bought them by giving them hundreds of millions of dollars in donations for them to allow teaching in the things that the Council on, you know, CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, is a huge organization in the United States that promotes all of this propaganda, promotes all of this Jew hatred, promotes many, many different things. That the idea that Islam is this peaceful, loving religion is all about, it's propaganda. It's taqiyya at its finest. You know, it's. I've been talking about this a lot, but we've got to understand this.
But now there's companies that have come out and said that they will not hire students
From
that
certain
come
universities,
from
yeah.
those universities where they are allowing Jewish
Yeah.
students to get terrorized, because that's what's happening. They're getting terrorized,
Yeah, just
and
because
they're not going to
Jewish.
hire the students that are coming out of these
Yeah.
colleges.
I know.
Which,
And I think that's a good thing, but it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
the boycotts that have been happening, you know, against Anheuser-Busch and different
Yeah.
companies that
Bud
have
Light.
proved their wokeism, you know, and the craziness that they're promoting, like Disney, you know, and but the thing is, like we were talking just yesterday, it's not enough. It's
No,
not
it's
enough.
not enough.
They're not destroying these companies are not being destroyed. Yes, they hurt a little bit, but they're still multi-billion-dollar companies, and they're still making money. They've just gotten hurt a little bit. They're still filthy, stinking rich, and it's not enough. And yes, it's nice that there's companies saying, well, I'm not going to hire these you know,
these students,
brainwashed,
but
you know,
it's
hate
only
groups.
just a band-aid on the situation. I mean, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing that I'm really talking about here is we know what's coming because God told us. God told us that a man is going to step up as the savior of the world, and the world's going to love him, and they're going to bend the knee to him, and they're going to submit to his religion, because it's a religion that we're told about in Revelation 13. It's a religion. We're going to worship him, not me, but everyone else.
Not me.
And it's, you know, it's going to come with a man doing miracles like pulling fire right out of thin air to promote him. And it's, you know, this is coming. And this is what I've been saying all along, is that it's going to be Islam. It's going to be a Muslim. And I know, you know, most of the Western world teaches that the Antichrist has to come out of Europe, but no, the false prophet's coming out of Europe. And the East and the West is going to be united by the false prophet and the Antichrist, the Muslim Antichrist. And that's, we've talked about that a lot. And I think I might just delve into that next week and talk about that again, about the false prophecies that Satan set up in Islam, and go through that list. I don't know if I've done that fairly recently or not. But I you know, I think it's worthwhile going through again to look at the beginnings of Islam, look at what they're really about, look at the doctrines that are taught in Islam, and look at how Satan has set them up to be absolutely 100% fooled when the prophecies of the Bible come to pass, which is going to fool the majority of the world. And that's one of the things, you know, Muslims do not believe in the Jesus of the Bible. And this is one of the things that I've got to help everyone understand, because there's so much misinformation out there about Islam, and people are starting to turn to Islam as if it's some wonderful religion. If you know anything about Sharia law, if you know anything about their hatred and the violence that's actually encouraged and commanded in Islam, it's nothing like what they're trying to make us believe here in the West, in the Western world. And you know, and they'll even tell you they believe in Jesus, but they say that Jesus is just a prophet that died 2,000 years ago. And the real Jesus is what they say that is the most awful name in Allah's sight on the day of resurrection, will be that of a man calling himself Malik al-Amlak, the King of Kings. Who's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords? Jesus Christ. Well, Islam says that this is the most awful name in Allah's sight. Well, of course it is. That's true, because Satan is Allah and Satan hates Jesus.
What is going to be written on his thigh? The King of Kings?
King of Kings.
And Lord of Lords.
Yeah,
right?
in Revelation 19. Yeah. And that's, you know, this is Jesus Christ. They hate him. Huh?
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Revelation 19.
And they don't, you know, they teach that Jesus is a prophet, not the manifestation of God in the flesh, that he's going to return at the end time to teach Christians the Muslim way, and tell them all about how they're so misguided and how the Bible that we have today is so wrong. That Jesus is not really, and they call him the Muslim Jesus. They say that Jesus is actually going to support the Mahdi, which will be the Antichrist of the Bible. And this Muslim Jesus will be the false prophet of the Bible. But this is what Satan has set up to fool the Muslims lock, stock, and barrel. When the Antichrist comes on the scene, he's going to be touted as the Muslim Mahdi. He's going to be the Messiah of Islam. And he's going to help them to kill all the Jews and Christians that won't convert to Islam.
Yeah.
He's going to help them to slaughter millions of people in the name of their God. And right now, it's weirdly surreal that half of the world is okay with this.
I know.
And we can see right now how that I used to wonder how this was even going to be a possibility for the Antichrist to get away with slaughtering people. But now I can see how it's going to happen.
Oh, it just
Since
that's what I'm
October
saying.
7th, I
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
everybody's going to be
There's-
rejoicing.
And
in
it's
it.
not just in the United States, it's all over the world.
Europe,
it's all
everywhere.
over Europe.
Yeah, and we don't even need to talk about the Muslim nations because they all agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not half of the Muslims; it's
Islam.
all of them.
It's Islam.
And if they don't really like the idea of killing people, well, they'll just encourage their devout brother to do it. They're not going to try to stop anyone. They're not going to disagree with anything because then their devout brother will kill them. That's Islam. But it's, this is, and I think maybe next week I'll spend some more time on this because it really is so important to understand this religion that Satan is going to stand up as one world religion that the Catholic Church is going to support and submit to when he teams up with the Mahdi and they rule the world together. It's going to be a submission of Catholicism to Islam. And everyone in the world is going to have to submit to this man and his rule as dictator and either convert to Islam or make an oath or a vow to his new world order, whatever he's going to call it. And this is what the Bible shows us is going to happen. And when we see how the world is shaping up to where everyone's going to love being a Muslim, well, then it's pretty obvious what that end time religion is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious now that I don't think I even need to really help people understand that. It's like it's kind of in your face now. It's going to be Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So the Muslim Jesus, according to Muhammad, is going to return to support the Mahdi and kill all Christians who won't convert to Islam. And it's the false prophet, is this Muslim Jesus. And it's, I've got this note here, don't believe the propaganda, because what's the propaganda? Islam good. That's the propaganda. Oh, we're just loving, peaceful, wonderful people.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. And yes, Western Muslims have been lied to by their imams and their caliphs, and they're purposefully deceiving them to convert them, to get as many turning Islamic as they can. And then as they get more deeper into the religion, more and more devout, they start teaching them the hate, which is you've got to hate Jews because they're donkeys and pigs, according to Islam. They're not people.
Americans are falling for this.
Yes, they are.
Oh, absolutely. Half.
Americans.
It's like mind-blowing. Half of the world has fallen for this.
Yeah.
But what is it? It's the supernatural
more,
dumbness that I've talked about.
Yeah.
Because remember, it's the lying wonders that come with power from Lucifer, the fallen angel, he has very, very powerful lies that he has created. It's a flood of lies, like a tidal wave. The lies of Satan. And it even talks about that in the Bible.
It's just amazing how you can see Bible prophecy.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It's like,
God told us.
I'm witnessing this.
I know.
God painted this picture for us so that at the time of the end, we would recognize it and understand it. Yeah, Daniel 12 says that the words were closed up and sealed until the time of the end. Now that it's the time of the end, we can see it so clearly. It's just absolutely amazing. So, no, Islam not good. No, we don't hate the Jews. We love the Jews just like we do any enemy. Right? God told us to love our enemies. We should pray for them. We should pray that God gets through to them and that they convert and learn who God is and Jesus Christ and turn to him in repentance. We should pray for that. We shouldn't hate them.
There's a lot of
and
people,
wish them death.
There's a lot of people who are very, very pro-Jew because they think that they're the chosen people.
Yeah, they think that there's Judeo-Christianity and that the Israelites, the Jews that live in Israel are still the chosen people. Well, go and read Romans chapter 11 and clear that up for yourself, because they're not. They are hewn off of the tree when they are unbelievers. And it's the tree of believing Jews, like our sister in Christ, Sheila, that is the true Israel, that we as Gentiles that love Jesus are grafted into that tree.
Yeah.
Where the trees, the branches that are hewn off make room for us. And I'm grateful for Abraham. I'm grateful that we're able to be saved. And I'm grateful for the Messianic Jews.
Yeah.
But there's no difference between the Jews that don't believe and Muslims or atheists or Buddhists. There's no difference. They're just unbelievers. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So no, don't hate the Jews. Pray for them. Pray for them, just like you pray for all your enemies, or should.
Yeah, they're being slaughtered.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, not anymore, but they
were. There's still some that are hostages.
Well, yeah, many. And the thing is, Hamas, this is not even new, right? Hamas has been doing terror attacks against Israel for years.
Well, they still
This is just a big, huge attack that slaughtered, 1,300.
Yeah, and during their so-called ceasefire, they were still attacking.
Hamas was still attacking, I know. And
shooting
it's
missiles over there.
It's just because they hate Jews. Their whole purpose in this attack on October 7th was just to kill Jews.
Just to kill Jews.
It was just to kill. That was the whole reason for the attack.
Yeah.
It's just because they hate them. And half of the world is supporting that. That's just absolutely amazing. But when we think about the lying wonders of Satan that come with power and signs, and understand that God said that if you don't have a love for his truth, that he would send a strong delusion that you will believe those lying wonders of Satan. That's what we're seeing right now in the world. This is a supernatural dumbness that's come across the half of the world. Is they're in this
fog,
this state of lunacy is what it is, that Satan has gotten in there and corrupted their minds.
Well, they think that the reason why Hamas is so has the right to do what they're doing is because they're on stolen land and they're.
But we talked about that in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Where it never was. There never was a Palestinian people. There was a Palestine region that was actually set up after World War I for the Jews to return to Israel. And yes, there were some nomadic Arab tribes that lived in the area, and there were some, and in recent years, Gaza has actually grown to like 5 million since World War II, and with Arabs, because the Arabs are moving in there trying to prove that it's their land, and they're touting this the Palestinians there never was any such thing as the Palestinian. Palestine was a region given to the Jews to return to their homeland. And it's only become this thing after World War II when the Jews started clamoring to come to their homeland. It's like, it's Ezekiel 37 prophecy coming to pass. The dry bones are coming together and flesh is forming on them because Israel has now come back from the dead. And it's prophesied in the Bible, but there's, this idea that they're on stolen land is stupid. It's ludicrous. It's not even, there's no real fact behind it. It's just a claim that they're making to try to get the world on their side. That's all it is. So this, I said I was going to say how all these things, follow Bible prophecy. I don't think I need to say anything about that. I mean, this is Satan is setting up the world to fulfill the prophecies because Satan knows the prophecies better than I do. Satan knows this. He's had a couple thousand years to study this stuff. He had Daniel and Ezekiel and Isaiah and all the Old Testament prophets, but then he had Revelation. The revelation, the visions given to the Apostle John to add to that. And that's how we can understand prophecy, is when we take Revelation and pair it up with Zechariah and Daniel and Ezekiel. Then that's when we get the full picture and can understand it so well. And Satan has that too. And that's why he's set up the world to literally mirror the prophecies of the Bible, except an exact opposite mirror. And Judaism has false prophecies he's set up. Catholicism has false prophecies he's set up. Islam has false prophecies he's set up. Other religions use the same lie that he told Eve, that you can be as God. There's all these other religions that Satan has set up where he's got everybody thinking they're going to be a god someday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all Satan's very well thought out plan that's coming to fruition now. And here's another article that just came out, kind of on the lines of the war over there, is that here's the crazy stuff that's still happening. I haven't talked much about the war that's going on and the atrocities of Islam and Nigeria. There's always new articles, and I usually show them to you every week, but I'm skipping those just so that we can talk about some other things this week. But this is one of the things that was just recent, that the Yemen's Houthis are warning they'll target any ship headed to Israel. And then Biden tells Israel not to strike the Houthis. And it's like, no, you just got to let them do it. And, we do have power over them because they depend on the United States. And we've got them under our thumb. That's the stupid thing about these people that believe that the Jews control everything. Well, the United Nations hates them. They're always against them. They're always condemning them. The United States simply has Israel under their thumb so they can use them.
They don't really need us, though. They have a very strong
but
army.
We use them for an entity that basically belongs to us in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can exercise our dominance around the world. It's all part of this, the power struggles, the money laundering, everything is all part of that. And it's ridiculous. It's evil and vile is what it is. The things that the world is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added this because we're going to talk more about this because we're actually coming up on 8. So I'm going to briefly go through this. Before I do that, I wanted to show you this. This is a newsletter that I subscribe to just to see what the Catholics are saying.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to remember, to get the news, you can't just get one side of the news. I look at Muslim news.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Jewish news. I look at US news. I look at European news. I look at everything. And somewhere in the middle of that, you can find the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is just one thing that struck me is they're pleased to share exciting news. You know, they've got the new programming because the guy that used to write this, they kicked out, and now they're getting really weird, and it's just, I don't even know if I'm going to stay subscribed, because he was always giving us news about things, talking about the corruption of the Catholic Church, the corruption of Pope Francis.
Oh.
And I think that's probably why they kicked him off, and now they're replacing him, because they don't want him doing that.
Yeah.
But he was honest. And I really liked the fact that he was honest.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're saying this Mary, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Blessed Virgin Mary, your mind will be blown by the trials and triumphs of Mary's life, such as her epic battles with demons, and how later in life she relived weekly the passion of Christ.
Oh.
It's like,
What?
When did they make this stuff up? Because
Yeah.
where
2 days
are
ago.
they supposed to be getting this information?
Yeah, why was she tormented
like,
by demons?
what?
Where
This
did they
is
get that?
all fairy tales made up by the Catholic Church. This is just crazy. Yeah, I just wanted to share that, because
Mhm.
it's like, wow, they're just, oh man.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I'm going to briefly go through this, because we're going at 8:00, and then we'll say goodbye. And then next week, I'm gonna dive into this stuff deeply. Knowing your enemy is a good thing when we're fighting this spiritual war.
Mhm.
There's a war raging around us, this battle in the spiritual realm, and we are part of it. Whether you know it or not, you're either one of Satan's pawns, or you're fighting for Jesus, one or the other. And you may not be a willing pawn, but if you're not fighting for Jesus, you are his pawn.
Yes.
And Satan really has the whole world sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting for their messiahs. The Jews are awaiting the Moshiach. In fact, I've got videos of the man that they think is the Moshiach.
I want to see what he looks like.
Well, we saw it a few months ago. I showed it to you guys. But next week I'll drag that back up and find it.
He's a young guy.
And who are the
right?
Buddhists waiting for?
Huh?
Well, the Buddhists are just waiting for the transcendence to becoming gods. You know? Yeah.
There's so many gods out there. They're all going to be fighting each other.
I know.
Yeah.
But the Jews, it's like the youngest rabbi. Or not, I don't know if it's the youngest, but it's a very young rabbi. It's a very young man to be considered a rabbi. But he's very highly respected, and they believe that he is the Mashiach, the Messiah himself. And yes, they've actually twisted what the Messiah is, and actually made up a doctrine about the Messiah, so that he doesn't even have to be a deity. He can just be this guy that does these things. And we'll talk about it next week on this documentation that I have for all of these. The Muslims are awaiting their Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus for the caliphate to be set up. And this is I've got a list of exactly duplicate prophecies that Satan set up in Islam that match the Bible perfectly, so that when the prophecies of the Bible come to pass, the Muslims are going to think that the Antichrist is their Messiah.
Mhm.
And the false prophet that supports him is going to be their Muslim Jesus.
That should be interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it deceived Christians awaiting a rapture. We don't need to worry about any of that stuff in Revelation. We're not going to be here.
I know.
Read the Bible, people, because if you actually believe the words of Jesus and the words of the Apostle Paul, they tell us there's no controversy here. I know this is a very controversial subject, but there is no controversy if you just believe what Jesus said point blank. He said,
Immediately
when you
after
see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, then shall be great tribulation.
Mhm.
Immediately after the tribulation, the
Mhm.
sun's going to go dark. Jesus is going to appear in the clouds of heaven with power and glory.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that alone just proves it right there.
And then he's going to gather his own.
Yeah, turns from mortal
It
to
says
immortal.
that
Yeah.
point blank. The Apostle
Yes.
Paul said that day, talking about the gathering of the saints, the rapture, he said that day won't come until we see the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist, the man of sin, will sit in the temple of God claiming to be God.
Mhm.
He said that day is not going to come until after that, when the Antichrist is revealed.
So why do they skip over it? Why are they not?
Well, they're deceived. They're deceived by their pastors and all the other fellowships in their church where they all believe this. And they're just being lied to, and they don't study it for themselves and allow the scriptures to correct them.
And it's too uncomfortable for them to think about that. It's like, oh, no, but God wouldn't put me through that. Well, God lets you get cancer.
Yeah. And it's like Peter said, why do you think it's a strange thing that you're being put through this fiery trial?
Yeah.
Because this existence is a test.
Yes.
It's a test to find out who can overcome and allow God to save them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we deny God and don't love him and don't repent and follow him, he can't save us.
Right.
Paul said, thank you for your bold witness. Thank you. Praise God.
Yeah. I can do nothing else but tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And be bold. Yeah.
So Catholics are awaiting their great monarch, or what they call the final emperor,
Mhm.
and the final glorious pope.
And the Pope was sick, and now he's doing better.
Yeah.
He always gets sick, and then
And he recovers.
and
But that's the thing is, there's a prophecies from Saint Malachi back in the 11th century that said there was going to be 112 popes from his time to the end.
Mhm.
Well, guess who the 112th pope is?
Francis.
He's the 112th. And everything Pope Francis is doing is proving that he believes these prophecies to be true, that he is the final glorious pope.
Mhm.
Maybe
believes
he
that.
is.
And he's trying.
Yeah, maybe he is.
Well, yeah.
Maybe he is.
And he's trying everything he can do. And since he was made pope, he hit the ground running with interfaithism. He set up this new temple, the combined temples that just opened up last year, I think. And we saw it just a few weeks ago. We'll look at it again when we're studying this stuff. But it's, everything he's doing shows that he really believes these prophecies. And he believes he's going to be the final glorious pope, and he's going to support what he's going to think is the great monarch.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then Satan's also setting up the world for an alien invasion. He's 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 setting up the world so that when the fifth trumpet sounds and the bottomless pit is opened and this mass exodus of demons in the form of these locusts come out and torment men for 5 months, he's going to say they're aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows.
Everybody's talking about aliens.
I know.
I know.
Because Satan is doing this. He's setting up the world so that when the fifth trumpet blows, nobody's going to look to the Bible for answers. They're going to be, oh, it's aliens. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll capture one and say, "See, it's an alien."
Yeah.
And more people
Because
will
it is
believe
going to be a really weird little creature. Yeah. With,
Me and Jody were talking about how Annie says when if she's sitting outside on her break, they're gonna come up, they're gonna land on her, and she's gonna be like, I know you aren't there for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
I got the
scary
seal
movies.
of God, dude. Go away.
It's like in scary movies, like The Birds, I think it was. You see one bird, you don't think anything, when you just look up, all of a sudden you look back and there's this whole swarm of them. When they'll sit down by me, I'll be like, nope, you ain't coming here.
And Jody says she'd
Goodbye.
be like, walk outside and they'll be swarming around her, and it should just be walking through all the swarm.
Yeah. Well, I believe that. I believe that in Revelation 9, where it talks about the fifth trumpet, and it says that they're not allowed to hurt those men that have the seal of God in their forehead. I believe that also includes us.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
just like the people
You better hope.
just like the people that create these snake pits and jump in to prove whether or not God will protect him, we don't want to be that stupid.
No.
We don't want to just
Are you
flaunt
listening, Jody?
it. We don't want to say God's going to protect me and go walking out into danger. Literally like these people that jump in snake pits.
Yeah, I know they do.
With poisonous snakes and things. It's like, no, don't. You
don't you
tempting
think-
God?
I know,
really?
but don't you
Yeah.
think that that's going to be a time where we may have to go out like as a witnessing thing where we
Well,
might...
in that case, if we're doing the work of God,
yeah,
absolutely God will protect us.
yeah.
So stay in your house when that happens. Don't go anywhere.
That's the next
Don't be tempting
lockdown.
God.
Yeah. People won't want to come outside. Yeah.
Jay said, but there's nothing to be scared about. It's just a cricket. No, it's just a locust.
Well, remember, it has a sting like a scorpion.
Scorpion,
which is,
yeah. It's just a cricket.
It's a really painful thing. And it says in Revelation 9 that men that get stung will wish they were dead. And that's kind of what is described by a scorpion sting. It's so painful that people are like, they wish they were dead.
Yeah, and they can't die, and they won't be able to die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
But and then there's the fact, that Satan has fooled billions of people with his lies about evolution.
Yeah.
And it's it's really sad but true that there's many professing Christians that say, well, there's billions of years between verse 1 and verse 2 of Genesis chapter 1, which is, and I'm sorry I use these words, but it's stupid to believe that. And if I'm offending you, have you really looked at that? Like, we've got documentation here. Annie did a wonderful job of creating the video series that we did on a live stream. And it's a three video series. It's one of the what do you call it?
Series.
Playlists. It's a playlist on my channel on YouTube Creation versus Evolution seminar. It's
Mhm.
got 3 videos there. Watch them. Go to my
Yeah, they're
website
good. They're very
and
good.
read the Creation versus Evolution series of documents I have here, because to believe in evolution and to call yourself a Christian, I'm sorry, but it's stupid. It
Yeah.
really is. It's
True.
dumb
Yeah.
to say that. And all it is giving in to the secular society saying, well, yeah, it could be true. No, why do we have to give in to people that don't believe in God?
Right.
Why do we feel that's
Well,
necessary? To mollify them. Oh, yeah, it could be between these 2 verses here. No, God very clearly said what he did. And all of the evidence in the earth supports the flood, not
Mhm.
evolution.
Are there really
Mhm.
Christians who believe in evolution?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've had little conversations with them on, especially there's a Facebook group that I'm part of on a
Flat Earths.
young Earth creationism, and a lot of people come on there just to argue, and there's a lot of Christians that are arguing for evolution, and
There's some people
it's
that
crazy.
there's some people that even believe that the world is flat. They believe
Yeah.
I know.
flat Earth theory.
Yeah.
It's like
that's-
they figured
Yeah.
out that whole thing hundreds of years ago. Wasn't it Isaac Newton that figured out that the world was round?
I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
it's, I mean, and the thing is, Satan is a very, very intelligent being.
Mhm.
And he's given these guys all kinds of stuff to use to prove their points. And if you go out and you don't, if you don't really do due diligence and you just watch these videos and look at the documentation people have and everything that they talk about that touts the realism of their theory, you could be fooled by it. And that's, it's sad to say, but all of these things are Satan's tools to distract us, to turn us from the truth, to get us believing in something, anything other than God's truth. And it's, Satan comes with power. His lies come with power and lying wonders.
Mhm.
The Bible doesn't call it power and signs and lying wonders for nothing,
Yes.
because these are very powerful lies that Satan is
Well,
telling.
he sure is convincing a lot of people.
Yeah.
She said Rumble keeps pausing. Okay.
Oh. It might
I know,
actually be
it's-
on her end. I don't know.
It's on your end.
It might be your internet there. I don't know. You're in a new place, I know, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure how well it works there. But it's 8:00, so next week I'm going to actually look into this with you much deeper. We're gonna explore these lies that Satan has set up, and we're gonna look at all the things they believe
Yeah.
versus the Bible, and know our enemy, because I really do believe that it's important for us to know our enemy.
It always is.
Yeah. And let me just check. I'm assuming that you're still able to see Rumble. It just
She is.
said
She's
it's
still watching it,
pausing.
but it keeps
Okay.
pausing.
Yeah, we don't have any new we don't have any chat on there, so that's
No.
good. So yeah, like I said, next week we're gonna dive into this stuff and take a serious look at it and get to know our enemy and know the lies that he has propagated throughout the world. He's literally built all this stuff up over centuries.
Yeah.
That's why he's gotten it to the point that it is now, because he's had centuries literally to create these mindsets. Yeah. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. And let me just pray real quick, and then we'll say goodbye. So thank you, Lord, once again for preserving your word for us, for causing men to salvage it and print it and put it in a canon and save it for us today, Lord. It was you that did that, and we're so grateful. And we're grateful for the pictures you painted that we can see so clearly now, so that we don't have to wonder, we don't have to guess, we don't have to be afraid. We know exactly what's going to happen, and we trust you, Lord, and we love you. Thank you, Lord. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. What's a canon?
That's the collection of scriptures that they call the Bible.
So it's
when
written.
they created it.
Is it written?
It's called, they called it the canon of scriptures.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's
Did
just
you ever
a
find out
word.
where Galilee was?
Who?
Did I find out
Galilee?
where
Oh,
Galilee was?
Galilee? The
Yeah,
Sea
you were
of
gonna look
Galilee?
I didn't
Right.
look.
Oh, because she had asked the question before, like, where's Galilee? And you couldn't find it in the Bible or something.
No, I just didn't. We were looking at Google Maps, I think, and we didn't find it.
The
But,
Sea of Galilee
But the Sea of Galilee
was what?
is actually next to, well, I don't remember. I remember I was there, but I don't remember exactly where we traveled to get there. But I know it's a small sea in.
A small sea?
It's a
And
very small body of water.
Sheila said, thank you. Appreciate your teaching. God bless everyone. God bless you, Sheila. We're not on there. And then Jay said,
probably
thank
spelled it
you
wrong.
again, guys.
God bless you all. Let me see map.
I'm going to wait till our face comes back. You're not sharing, so.
I'm still sharing on StreamYard, but
Yeah,
not
right
with-
here. But Annie can't see.
So the Sea of Galilee. So
Yeah, because all of a sudden I was like, yeah, what is that?
let's see if I can see anything around it. I got to get this out of the way again.
I know. What's around it?
I'm looking here.
Nothing familiar.
Here's Mount Tabor,
What about the one?
Mount Gilboa, Bethsaida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not giving us the surrounding. Let's see what this one. Find one that actually
There was
has
no
a
comments I could.
little broader map.
Where Jesus walked, Sea of Galilee. Oh, if you go up, go back up.
Maybe this one here.
It shows where Jesus
Oh, here's the
walked.
Sea of Galilee.
Oh,
Oh, it is small.
So this is the Mediterranean Sea over here. Samaria. Yeah. And so this is like old names for
Where's
things.
Gaza?
But this is
Where's
Israel here, and Gaza would be somewhere along here, probably. I
Upper
believe if we're looking at.
Galilee?
So yeah, it's a small sea.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I remember being there because when I went to Israel, we actually went onto this. It's a big slope, a grassy slope where they think that Jesus taught.
all those people.
When he was there.
No, I would love.
And
to
we
go.
sat there and overlooking the
afraid.
Sea of Galilee. It was really awesome.
I would love to go, but I'm too afraid now.
Well, now it's kind of scary to go to Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
So there's the Sea of Galilee.
oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, just to imagine how many people have been there since him. Very many.
know.
Are there a lot of trees there now, so nobody walks there?
Yeah.
And they just believe that it's probably the spot where he taught, but we don't know for sure, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give us the exact location.
Yeah.
We just know it was somewhere along the Sea of Galilee. anywhere around it actually could have been.
That would
Yeah,
that would
that's
be
true.
really cool to go there.
Yeah, I would love to
Yeah.
see that.
Actually, I
know.
think there's some places where it says then he
Let's
went
see.
across and he went to this other place. So you could surmise the side of it that he was on anyway.
what's the body of water that Peter walked on the water? Got out
I
of the boat.
believe that was
That
the
was the
Sea
Sea
of
of Galilee.
Yeah.
See, that's why I want to see it.
Yeah, if I remember.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
I
Sea
know. I know.
Galilee.
What about the storm when Jesus
Well, that
was in the boat? It was
I'm
all in
pretty
the
sure
Sea
that
of
was the Sea
Galilee.
of Galilee. Yeah.
Well, there's a very
They were
active little
fishing.
sea, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. It's not like a little lake. It's a small sea. You know, it's pretty big.
A big body of water.
Yeah.
What's
It's
the
just
difference
not
between
like
a
the
sea and a
Mediterranean
lake?
Sea. I think
Well-
it just depends on the volume of water or
Oh.
the size or something.
So it was bigger.
But so it's a sea. It's not just a lake.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
look that up. I'm gonna see what the difference is between
okay.
a lake and a sea, and then I'll
Uh-huh.
tell everybody when I come back.
The sea is bigger than a lake.
Yeah.
Doesn't a sea still have water that goes to the ocean?
I don't think it depends on whether it's
That
salt
was
water or
far
not.
from
I don't.
the
Mm.
I don't think
Caribbean. Is that
That's
what's right
the
there?
criteria. I
Is
don't
it?
really know though, so I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I have to look it
So
up.
Jay, Sheila, Paul, Johanna, Michelle.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you
in
for being
chat.
here. We
Jody,
love
thank
you
you
all.
so much for handling our Rumble and coming back,
Yeah.
and she's safe.
Yeah.
She's safe now.
Yeah.
She's done traveling. My sissy, I love you so much, and I'll be in touch with you. I didn't talk to her that much, but I did talk to her on Friday.
Yeah, we talked for a few hours on Friday.
Few hours?
Yeah, I didn't take a nap. I was too late.
She
for
got
a
off the
nap.
phone with me and said I have to take a nap, and I'm like, okay, go take a nap. She never took a nap.
It was too late in the day.
I wish I could take
Like,
naps.
why?
Oh, I
take
wish I could
naps,
take a
but
nap too, but I
I
would never
can't.
sleep at night. I don't think I could. Anyway, everybody have a great first of your week. And if you are not going to watch until after the week, have a great week.
But join us on Wednesday.
Yeah, try to
Yes,
come back
we
on
have-
Wednesday and
we're
join
right
live.
in the middle of studying the four gospels.
Right,
And we're having a lot of fun with that.
right,
And then definitely come back
Yes.
next week. and
Yeah.
We'll dive into those false religions.
right. And so would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show. Please share it
With your friends and family.
with your friends
With
and family.
Help us reach more people.
Everyone. Copy the
Yeah.
URL and plaster it. Send it in an
Yeah.
email. You can actually do that. You can actually copy
You
the
can copy
link.
the
and
link,
put it
Text
in an
message
email.
somebody and say, hey, I saw something really cool today. You got to watch this video.
Yeah. You know, he talks
Help
for
us
2
reach
hours,
more
but you
people.
know, it's a long video.
Okay.
Okay.
But
so,
you know, there's so much to say. An hour and a
Yeah.
half, 2 hours is just barely
Yeah.
even scratching the surface,
right,
really.
right. So have a good week. See you next Wednesday.
Yes. Good luck and good night.
She is not going to say it. She's tired of it.
She's tired of that.
Oh,
So God bless you
she
all.
said somebody commented.
Oh, on Rumble.
Yeah.
Let's see.
She's not going to say it. She,
Good luck and good
No,
night.
you're stubborn.
Oh, His Majesty's Holiness
Live
I think-
from New York.
I
It's
think-
Saturday night.
No.
Galileo was
Yeah.
kicked out of the Catholic Church for proving the Earth revolves around the sun. Oh,
Oh, okay.
thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Hmm.
Thanks to you.
Commenting on that flat Earth
They thanked
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nice to have you in chat again, by the way.
Yeah.
And so we're going
Thanks
to
for being
sign
here.
off. And we love everybody. And we'll see everybody in a few days. Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Love you guys.